So there's this channel on YouTube called The Wizard's Brush. I don't normally watch a lot of crafting hobby content. It's never really been my thing. It's cool if it is yours, but it's just not mine. Playing tabletop games for me is the actual fun part of the hobby, and the rest of the stuff that one does, collecting, painting, modeling, that stuff is all the things that you need to do in order to make the games more enjoyable. I'm not a very picky person necessarily. I'm totally happy to use literally anything for terrain. So I'm always impressed by people who have really well-made terrain sets and game boards, but that's just not my thing. You know, everybody's got their niche, and the Wizard's Brush definitely has theirs. About 5 months ago, they made a viral video, Lord of the Rings, shrinking the epic to 10mm. And it's this video that actually caught my attention to their channel. In this video, which was later expanded into a series, the Wizard's Brush presents a lavishly painted collection of 10mm Lord of the Rings miniatures that were very much inspired by the movies. In subsequent episodes, they presented other armies like the Easterlings and Elves, as well as tutorials for how to make terrain pieces in the same 10mm scale and in the same style. I've only actually seen the first video because that was the thing that really captured my attention. The Wizard's Brush paints much better than I ever could, so I certainly can't fault their skills. But for me, the real issue was the lack of playing. It's one thing to have access to these minis. The problem is, of course, what do you do with them? Now let me say this. I think that these minis are an excellent product. They are produced by the maker Wake's Emporium. They're finely sculpted 10mm miniatures, and, I'm sure that they're probably on the cusp of an IP violation somewhere. But the real question that I have is, what do you really do with these? What now? Now that you've got these nice Lord of the Rings minis and terrain and stuff, what can you actually do with them? Well, the answer that comes to mind is, of course, that you can use these minis to play the official Games Workshop Lord of the Rings 10mm game, Battle of the Five Armies. This is a game that was written by Rick Priestley and published back in 2005, and it's actually, my word, 20 years old, so it's long out of print. Basically, it's just a war game for Lord of the Rings in 10mm scale, and that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly serviceable. But, it's not exactly accessible to a lot of people, and, that's an issue if you want to really get a lot of people to start using these nice minis. Something else, which is sort of an issue for me, is that the Lord of the Rings movies really are the dominant forces of discussion of Lord of the Rings. Don't get me wrong, they're excellent movies. The original trilogy is some of the best filmmaking ever. I don't hate them at all. But I think that they also deviate from the vision of the book in Lord of the Rings in quite some significant ways. So allow me to throw my hat into the ring and provide an answer to the question of, what do you do with your lovely 10mm Lord of the Rings minis? I've written a game which I'm calling Eagle Feast. This game is inspired by the Raven Feast rule set written and provided by Little Wars TV, and with whose permission I have to create this video here. Their website is also linked in the description. Eagle Feast is about representing large-scale battles at a small mini-scale, between 6mm and 10mm, which is of course perfect for using the Wake's Emporium minis. But Eagle Feast is also based a lot more on the books in the sense that the style of warfare that is used in the rules is based a lot more on the warfare that inspired Tolkien, namely warfare from the early Middle Ages. There are no crossbows and plate armor to be found here. Warfare in this version of Middle-earth cleaves strongly to the shield wall as the main mechanism of fighting. Winning in this game is about using your heroes to keep your army together as you either assault the enemy shield wall or form your own shield wall to repel attackers and so on. Right now, Eagle Feast is a playable rule set with 2 eras of Middle-earth. For the Third Age, which is of course the most popular one, I've got rules for Gondor, Mordor, Isengard, and Rohan. These are some of the more typical factions that you would expect to see in this era, and I've tried to keep it more in line with the paradigm of warfare described thus far. But I've also written rules for the Fourth Age of Middle-earth. I'm not gonna lie, this is a personal fixation of mine, ever since I played the Fourth Age Rome Total War mod. And I think that it's an era of Middle-earth that is criminally underexplored. So I've written rules for the main kingdoms of that era, as they are attempting to battle for supremacy in the long aftermath of the defeat of Sauron. These, I think, are fun rules to play with. I think that Little Wars TV did a great job creating Raven Feast, and of course, most of the credit I think should definitely go to them. These rules are basically very playable. I think that they do capture the feel of an epic Lord of the Rings battle. Certainly, when I think about forming a Gondorian shield wall, I would definitely harken back, of course, to Isildur's famous death when a shield wall of Gondorian men-at-arms managed to repel hundreds, if not thousands, of orcs. I think that this game is a lot of fun to play, but of course I'm biased. The rules are available in my Discord for free. You can check out Little Wars TV for their excellent gaming resources as well, and you can share your feedback about this game to my Discord or my email address. This game, as a disclaimer, is not 100% complete. Lord of the Rings is a massive project, it's a massive undertaking, and I've tried to add the necessary factions that I think you might need in a game like this to basically play it for the most part. I'm still working on adding new factions, new mechanics, and new units and things like that. So, you can always comment and let me know if your favorite faction isn't in the game, and I can always add it in the future, right? This is a project which I think is a living project. As I get more time and as I get more energy, I will add more and more into the project. And of course, it's always open for viewers to submit their own rules or army lists and things like that to help it grow. I think we have a situation in the wargames community where there are lots of really, really nice miniatures, but a lot of us are still stuck playing the same sorts of things over and over and over again. And I really want to do my bit to change that. Finally, I'd just like to explain why this project is called Eagle Feast. Well, there's not really a direct translation for a raven in Quenya, at least not one that I could find. So calling it something in Elvish, the Elvish version of Raven Feast, wouldn't really work out. Instead, I wanted to call it Eagle Feast because eagles are important mythological birds in Tolkien's mythology. In the same way that ravens occupy a very unique mythological role in Norse mythology, eagles occupy a unique mythological role in Tolkien's mythology, and I thought that it would be applicable to refer to this game as Eagle Feast. Of course, there aren't any actual eagles in it yet, but you get my point. So, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Remember that you can take a look at the rules at the link provided in my Discord, and you can always email me if you have any issues. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Take care and goodbye.